I'm putting so much into other people that I'm not putting enough into myself, and therefore my goals that I want to accomplish are getting pushed back on my schedule, and when they don't happen the way that I want them to happen or the way that they're supposed to turn out. Hello, my fellow awakening souls. It's good to see you guys here again. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys today about something that's been weighing on my mind heavily lately. But before we get into that, I do want to show you guys the brand. We did a soft launch last year and it did really well. So I'm excited to continue working on this project, and I'm excited for the launch. So I just kind of want to give you guys a little preview. This is our brand, me and David's Awaken. Let's get into the back of it. So I'm really excited for the brand to launch because I think it's going to do really well. It has a lot of meaning to me and David about why we're doing what we're doing. And yeah, I'll get more into it as the launch day comes closer. But for the time being, let's just talk about what I wanted to talk about with you guys today, which is struggling within. So by struggling within, I mean, I've been doing a lot of shadow work recently. And it's had me looking at myself in a different light. Something that came up during my shadow work is that I feel like I'm putting so much into other people that I'm not putting enough into myself, and therefore my goals that I want to accomplish are getting pushed back on my schedule, and when they don't happen the way that I want them to happen or the way that they're supposed to turn out, I get upset, but I really don't have anyone else to blame but myself, because I allow myself to be distracted by so many things, and I judge myself so harshly on whether I'm doing the right thing or whether I'm learning the correct thing or if this is something that I'm meant to do. I question myself so much, and I doubt myself, or I doubt the progress, or I doubt life. And I'm like, well, maybe this isn't meant for me. But sometimes the things that are meant for us don't happen because we put doubt into our mind, and we give up on something that could have been meant for us had we kept pushing through. I just get so upset with myself because I feel like I overthink myself into not completing anything. Or if I am working on it, I feel like I allow myself to get distracted too much by the outside world and what other people got going on and what's going on with the world and everything like that, that I forget that the world is a reflection of that which lies within. And so I don't put into myself enough. And so my life is the representation of me doing that. I honestly just want to be the best version of myself. I want to be the most authentic version of myself. I want to stop fighting with myself about who I am and what I want, you know, and I want to stop judging myself so harshly. Like, for example, I could be doing really well, everything's going well, and I hit one snag and I start to think low vibrational thoughts, like, I start to have doubt in my mind because it's not working. I start to feel sad, or I start to feel angry, and then I get even more sad or angry because I get mad at myself for even feeling those type of emotions or having those type of thoughts or feelings. And I know a part of me is telling myself, acknowledge how you feel, acknowledge the emotions. You are for lack of a better term, you're a human being. Allow yourself to feel those things. Don't stay there, But another part of me that overrides that just gets more upset and frustrated with myself, because it's like, just go with it, Be at one with yourself so much to the point that little hiccups and bumps along the road don't faze you. But at the same time, doing the journaling, doing the work, I'm realizing that hiccups, bumps along the road are a part of the journey. Things will happen even if you are consciously creating a life that you want to live. life still happens. You know, there is a creator of the balanced universe. And just because you don't want things to go a certain way doesn't also always mean that things will always go your way, because things turn out the way that they're meant to. We have to physically start implementing the things that we are learning. So as I was journaling and as I was seeing that there's an inner conflict within myself that I have to overcome, I asked myself the question of, how can I overcome that inner conflict? You know, how can I become one with myself? You know, how can I, not about how can I love the good, because I love the good, we all love the good, but how can I love the bad, the ugly parts of myself, so to speak, that I dislike? You know, how to tame the inner conflict within myself and become one with myself, loving myself unconditionally, no judgments, no harsh words, you know. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Some things that we could possibly do to overcome the inner conflicts that resides within all of us, because we all have. So I think the first step into taming that inner conflict within ourselves, especially if you tend to judge yourself harshly, compare yourself to others, or just run from the darker parts of yourself, is to have a sit down with yourself alone, by yourself, no one else around, and truly think about who you are and what you want. Because how can you begin to move forward? How can you evolve if you don't even know who you are as a being? If you don't even know what it is you want in life? Think of yourself as a tree, because we're all connected to nature, right? Think of yourself as a tree. If you have no foundation, there isn't any growth. So you have to have a foundation in order to build upon that. So even if, let's say, who you are now is not who you're going to be 10 years down the line, who you decide that you are now is going to build the foundation into your evolution of who you are 10 years down the line. So you really need to get deep with yourself and figure out who you are as a being and what it is that you want. And that can take a year, that can take a month, that can take 2 years, that can take 3 years. But it's going to take however long it needs to take, because you need to figure out who you are and what it is that you want. Not what everybody else wants, not what your family wants, not what your friends want, not what you're seeing on the TV, but you alone by yourself, no distractions. If it's just you alone in the world, what it is that you want and who are you? Now, once you know who you are and what it is that you want, you can begin to focus on your spiritual practices, your principles, or your religious practices, whichever way you may fall. I think we all tend to get too caught up in the specific way to be. But what I mean by that is, I'm gonna just use spirituality for an example, because I am a spiritual person. We get so caught up into watching what everybody says we're supposed to be like. But if you be quite honest with yourself, we need to realize that you don't want to get too caught up in that. Show up as who you want to be. We get so caught up in high vibration and low vibration, and you think that you can't experience low vibrational emotions, when in all actuality, they're a natural part of being. Feel your way through them instead of rejecting them, because that which you reject is going to only be more perpetuated in your own reality, because you're creating friction. You need to accept and come together. Accept your emotions. Don't allow them to control you. Don't allow them to overcome you. You have to just allow them to be what they are, and allow yourself to feel yourself through them consciously, and take yourself back to a higher vibration, a higher way of being. We get so caught up into hearing everybody talk about spirituality and how you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing, that you start to judge yourself harshly because you're not doing or being those things. And judging yourself never leads to anything positive. Judging yourself never leads to you being a better version of yourself.
stop judging yourself harshly and acknowledge the parts of yourself that you need to evolve in and evolve in those areas. You won't evolve overnight and you won't evolve in a week, but at least you know you are aiming to overcome that which you are struggling with right now. Acknowledge the yin part of yourself, acknowledge the darkness, because where there is light, there is darkness. The pendulum swings back and forth and always and forevermore, as the Kabbalion would say. So you have to accept both sides of yourself. The more you feed the negative thoughts that you are having, the longer you will reside in a low vibrational state of mind, and your outer reality will reflect that which is in you. Overcome your negative emotions and negative thoughts. Don't try to completely deny them or suppress them or to pretend like they're not there. Where there is darkness, there is light. Accept both aspects of that. Don't allow yourself to be overcome by the darkness. Don't allow your judgments or your fears or your doubts to overcome you, that it pushes you further away from the life that you are aiming to live in this physical reality that we are in. Now, after you gain some confidence in who you are and what it is that you want, and you learn to truly accept the dark aspects of yourself, and you learn to truly accept your low vibrational emotions and low vibrational feelings, and you allow yourself to feel through that and always are able now to bring yourself back to a place of peace, of high vibrational emotions and thinking, you can now move on to step number 3, which is to trust ourselves more. A lot of us allow doubt to creep in because we lack trust within ourselves. We have to learn to allow little to no room for doubt. Tune into ourselves more so that we can make sure the path that we are following is one that we want to follow and go with it. Once you have a certain level of trust for yourself, you're less likely to doubt the journey that you are on. You're less likely to doubt yourself into procrastinating or into never completing that which you wanted to complete to begin with. We have to realize that even with the confidence in ourselves, even with knowing who we are, even with knowing where we want to be, even with overcoming the negative emotions, if we lack trust within ourselves, if we lack hope within ourselves, we leave no room for growth. We leave no room for evolving or moving forward because we always allow doubt to creep in. So learning to trust yourself is going to be an important thing for you to accomplish. And trusting yourself may not be easy, especially if you are a person who tend to make bad decisions and now you've lost faith in yourself or faith in the journey. You need to find that once again in order to have an outer reality that reflects the one to which you are trying to accomplish. My takeaway from this is to really truly start implementing that which I am learning, which I have been doing, but I feel like I haven't been doing it enough. We have to realize that in order to become the beings that we would like to be, we have to put into ourselves more. Along with all of the things that I have mentioned, you also have to realize that putting into yourself more is going to get your outer to reflect that which lies within. So you have to realize that, of course, you have people that you admire, you have mentors, books that you like to read, people that you like to watch, but just being a watcher isn't going to get you to the life that you want to live. You have to be a doer. You have to implement the things that you are learning, or you will forever be a watcher and you will not grow. And yes, you may enjoy certain people's content, you may enjoy watching certain things, but if you don't implement that which they are teaching you or telling you, your life will never reflect that which you are dreaming about. So I want you guys to take away from this to start implementing that which you are learning in your life to create better. Because when you create better with inside yourself, you create better in the world. I want you to realize that you have to figure out who you are and what it is that you want. You have to gain confidence in yourself fully. Accept yourself. love the good, the bad, the ugly, unconditionally. Trust yourself and trust the journey. Have hope, have optimism. Things work out for those who tend to think positive 99% of the time. The more you are in a state of positive thinking, of positive being, the more your outer world will reflect that. So trust yourself more and trust the journey. Have an optimistic point of view. That's not saying to be ignorant to the things that are happening around you or the things that are happening in your world. You want to edify yourself, but you also want to be an optimistic and positive person. Negative thinking, judgments, low vibrational feelings, and acting and ways of being have never gotten anyone in a position of peace, of happiness. When you allow yourself to be consumed by the low vibrational thoughts, anger, sadness, hate, judgment, any low vibrational emotion, you will stay there and your life will be a physical representation of that hate, of that sadness. You won't have a positive life if you tend to allow yourself to have a negative way of thinking. The life that you are living, the things that you are experiencing, if they are negative, if they are bad, it's because of the way you are thinking. Everything begins and ends with the mind. We have to learn to evolve ourselves mentally. Not to say that shit doesn't happen. Life happens. Shit sucks. But what did you do and what was your role in the things unfolding, how they unfolded? You have to start asking yourself, how did I play a role in that which is happening in my life right now? Why aren't I growing? Why aren't things changing? What is my role in all of this? What did I do or didn't do to make this happen in my own reality or in the reality of others? We are being taught to have no accountability or no responsibility for our own lives or for others' lives. We're being taught to blame it on other people instead of taking away blame and acknowledging our faults and acknowledging how we play a role in so many things that unfold in our lives and in the world. We have to be more accountable. We have to be more responsible. We have to implement that which we learn instead of just being watchers. We need to be doers. Implement that which we learn, grow, evolve. You know, it's a lot of work that needs to be done in this world. It's a lot of work that needs to be done inside all of us. It's a lot of work that needs to be done within me. And some days I do feel overwhelmed, and that's fine. There are mindful practices, like I always say, for you to mindfully take a break from constantly feeling like you have to work on yourself. I don't want you to feel like you constantly have to work on yourself. I want it to be something that makes you happy, but it makes you into the best version of yourself. It only feels like work because of your perception on it. Everything begins and ends with the mind, but everything also begins and ends with perception. So if you're perceiving something to be bad, if you're perceiving something to be work or to be a lot, that it will be. But if you choose to change your perception on it, your outer reality will reflect better. And I can attest to that because honestly, side story before I close out today, work, my job, it's not something that I want to do forever. And it's not the worst job in the world. But a couple months ago, before I realized that perception was everything, my thoughts were, I can't do this. I want to give up. I was crying. I had headaches. One day I physically made myself sick from thinking myself I thought myself into sickness that day, thinking about going to work. And then when I actually got to work, I thought about how it was so bad, how I didn't want to be here, how it was a lot of work, it was too much, it was overwhelming, I don't want to be. I was just thinking that over and over and over until I physically made myself sick. And the more I started to read and to learn and try to implement perception, changing my perception. Because my perception at that time was, I can't do this, I'm about to give up. I don't care if I'm broke, I don't care if I don't have any money, I don't care about any of that. I'll go work at McDonald's. I don't care. I'm leaving. I can't do this. It's overwhelming. And then I had to take a step back and breathe. Like, I had to literally like write down the pros and cons of my job and ask myself the question. You keep perpetuating this narrative that your life is so hard and that your job is so hard, but what in your physical reality is actually making this so hard? What are you doing that's actually so hard? And while my job is far from perfect and I still don't want to be in the position that I am in, I have learned to tolerate it and to go with it instead of going against it, because the difference that I have seen, like I said, when I was in the thought process of wanting to quit, don't care about the money, don't care about any of all that, thinking it was the worst job in the world, I was creating friction. And so I was putting more work in my own reality, giving myself more work, giving myself headaches, making myself sick. But when I learned to accept the position that I am in, accept the work, and look at the pros, change my perception on it, look at the positives, realize that the positives outweigh the negatives and there are worse things that I could be doing. I changed my perception. Then work for me changed a little bit. The things that I do at my job aren't as hard. My interactions with the outer world and the people that I got to interact aren't as frustrating. I'm learning to accept things for how they are and to do whatever I need to do to keep myself in a positive headspace, keeping my perception focused on the positive so that all I experience is positive. If you change your perception into one that looks at the positive aspects of life or the positive aspects of a certain situation, that is what you're going to experience. That is what the universe is going to provide you. That is what the creator of all is going to provide you into your life, because that is what you are mentally experiencing. You are mentally focused on the positive, so you will experience more positivity. My job isn't as hard. Like I said, I don't mind going to work. I'm not calling out. I am, doing what it is that I need to do in my day to day and accepting it for what it is until it's time for me to move up the scale onto bigger and better things. So we have to realize. So with that little story of mine, I hope that inspired you to change your perception on whatever it is that you are currently struggling with, whatever it is that you are going through. If you change your outlook on it, if you change your perception on it, the way you are thinking about it, if you continue to have hope, if you continue to be optimistic, your outer will reflect that which is residing in you. We all keep saying the same thing. Myself, other creators, other people that came before me, hundreds and thousands of years before me, we're all saying the same thing. But sometimes, because we are, for lack of a better term, human beings, we need to hear things a certain amount of times before it clicks. And I'm like that myself, to be quite honest. I can hear somebody say something, and I be like, this is like, and I keep it moving, and then it takes me to keep hearing it before it clicks and the light bulb goes off, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to implement this shit. This is going to be the change for me. But with that being said, I want to leave you guys off with that. You have some things to think about. You have some things to implement. But I'm wishing you guys peace, love, light, and healing. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And take a look at the links down below for more information about the world around you and to donate to some of the places that are going through hardships right now and that need our support. See you guys next week.